Hello everyone and welcome back to Your Basic Nerd, still a channel where I document my highly imperfect attempts at nerdy hobbies. So last week we made 4 kettles of different styles, which you can see on the piano here, and today basically we're making the last 3. They seem to be pretty interesting, different materials, a lot of metal stuff that we haven't used recently, so I'm excited to see how it goes. Let's get into it. Okay, so we'll be starting with kettle number 5. Seems pretty simple, only 3 pieces, 2 steps. As you can see, the look is quite clean and minimalist, so a very modern take on kettles, but hopefully should be fun to make. And I think in general, the steps today seem pretty fun. There's less paper pieces, so less cutting, less folding, so I think it's gonna be a nice change from the last few weeks, and hopefully maybe a bit easier as well. But if there's one thing I've learned with Simon's Coffee is that you can never take anything for granted and that you really have to look at the steps carefully. So I'm going to be strategic about it today and take my time. So I've already found the 3 pieces that I need for the kettle. This one is ready, this one is ready, and then I just need to cut the brown wire to a length of 18 millimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and measure that. Of course, with wires, it's always quite approximative because they're always a bit folded. So the length is never completely exact, but we do our best. And then they say bend based on the measurement, and it's supposed to do a hook shape with a little bit of room at the bottom to, I think, glue onto the main part of the kettle. And they say 2 millimeters, so that's quite small, but let's see how we do. I'm just gonna eyeball it and hope that the result looks okay. And then I'm gonna try to make a fairly round shape with my tweezers. Let's see how it looks on the kettle. Maybe I need to fix the angle a little bit here. To fit the angle of the side of the kettle better. And yeah, I think this looks pretty good. So I might start by gluing the metal sleeve so that we don't have to touch the whole thing too much after we've glued on the handle. Let's see, just a little bit. I don't think we need too much, since it already fit well into the hole, like that. And then I might use a toothpick to glue the handle onto the body. And even tweezers, because we're being clean and careful today. I'm pretty sure if I blow on it, it's gonna come off straight away, but hopefully it stays glued onto the thing. So, nice easy one. I think it's only been about 3-4 minutes. We like when steps are simple. Let's see how the next ones go. Now we're moving on to kettle number 6 after this very quick kettle number 5. The look is quite different, more old-timey, ancient instead of modern and minimalist. Couple more pieces as well. I've already found them all, or at least I hope I did find the right ones, because some of the descriptions are a bit vague, like this gold rope buckle, which is supposed to be this. So the images are very helpful, and again, I'm gonna follow the instructions very carefully to make sure I don't mess up anything. There's a paper beak as well that I'm gonna cut. And if you remember last week, I actually messed up and folded the whole thing then glued it even though I shouldn't have. So this time I'm gonna look at the instructions and make sure I do everything correctly. All right, and I'm also gonna cut the length of wire that I need. So this time it's 28 millimeter. And this part's a bit folded, but I think I'm not there yet anyway. It looks to be about right. And then let's do everything in order. So I start with this gold diamond shaped body, as they call it. And then I'm supposed to glue the metal sleeve, the big one, and then the small gold receptacle on the front side, which is opposed to the bottom side. So I'm gonna look at the images very carefully. Clearly this one fits into this one, I would think. And then I would glue this on top, okay. And then on the bottom side, yeah, I think that's what I'm supposed to interpret from the pictures. So let's do that. Then the, what do they call it? Small gold receptacle. So this one. And actually I might put the glue onto the other metal piece so that it's easier to stick onto the edges of the smaller piece. Like that. Oops. Back with my tweezers. It's a little bit crooked, but I don't think it matters too much. And then step 2 is to glue this gold rope buckle, as they call it, with the big gold receptacle. So again, let's use the same technique. I think that's pretty centered. And then we're at the wire. So we're actually cutting it into two pieces, one 20 millimeters and the other one 8. So about here. Yeah, I'm not sure that's the exact measurements, but I guess it doesn't matter. And then we're making one big hook and one very delicate small hook that will go on the top part of the kettle. So let's try our best. So basically the first one is identical to the one on the previous kettle. So I'm just gonna leave a 2 millimeter length at the bottom and then fold the hook. And I'm gonna see how it goes because the angle is a bit different on this second kettle of the day. So the bottom is much narrower than the top. Yeah, I think that's pretty good fit, at least for what we want. Okay, so my phone ended up dying as I was gluing on the beak, but here is the final product for kettle number 6, and I think it looks very good, if I may say so myself. Not perfect, of course, but very clean. Everything is in its place, and it was pretty easy to complete. I think it took about 20 minutes, but yeah, overall very happy with the result and ready to move on to kettle number 7, the last one. All right, and we're finishing with kettle number 7, also mostly made up of metal pieces. Nice look, long beak, long handle. So it's been nice to have diversity in the kettles. Excited to see the look of all 7 of them completed and put together. But let's do it for kettle 7. I've already found the pieces. There's actually a mistake in the instructions. They say brown wire twice, but it comes from 2 different bags. So one of them I interpreted was black wire, but again, we'll be very careful in reading the instructions to make sure we don't mess up anything. So the first step is just to glue as shown with all the main pieces. Basically, you stack them and you glue everything together. So I'll start with that. And I think I need to start with, let's see what's on the bottom. This one, which is called the metal sleeve. Oops. Like this, trying to make it nice and centered. All right, and then logically we should have this small gold receptacle, 4 millimeters. Nice, and the small gold bead. So I'll also use tweezers. Right, nice and easy. Then we have bend the brown wire as shown. It's 2 centimeters, and again you have to leave 2 millimeters at one end to glue onto the main body of the kettle, and then you make a hook with the rest. So again, I don't think the measurements need to be very precise as long as the shape is aesthetically pleasing, let's say. Yeah, I think that's okay. And then I think the trickiest part will be this brown wire. They say scratch the cover of the black wire, I'll show you, and then cut into 10 millimeters and then bend slightly. So we can see that it's supposed to make the beak. And I guess, because we started with 20 millimeters, and it's probably so that we have a handle to scratch the rest of the wire, but we seem to be throwing away 10 millimeters of black wire, I think. I'm gonna keep it just in case we need it later, but let's do that. So I have, that's about 2 centimeters, and I'm gonna scratch half of it with my X-Acto knife. I'm not sure how it's gonna work. The sound is very unpleasant. All right, it's hard to get all of the black parts out because when you scratch with the X-Acto knife, then the surface becomes sort of square instead of rounded, so it's hard to control where the knife is going. So I think I'm gonna stop there, and I figure it's okay. And yeah, I don't think the look matters all that much anyway. And they just say to bend it slightly. I'm trying at least, so that it looks more like a beak. See, yeah, I think that should work. So just a little bit of glue. And oops, the other part just became unstuck, so I'm gonna stick it or glue it again. And let's try to work a nice angle. That's frustrating. Since the main body is so smooth, then it takes a while for the glue to dry and stick. So I guess I need to hold it. And if I want the look to be nice, then ideally I have to hold it the right way. All right, I think this should at least last for a little bit, and then I'm just gonna add a touch of glue on the first side to make sure that the handle sticks correctly. Like that. Okay, and now let's see everything together. All right, so here you can see the 3 kettles that we completed this week. I think they're my favorite up until now. Since it's metal pieces, they look a bit cleaner, although of course you can always see some extra glue on all the pieces that I make. But overall, they were fun to make and not too frustrating. And here you can see the ones that I'd already completed last week. So they look a lot rougher actually. Again, lots of extra glue pieces and the gray one that I struggled with a lot. But overall, as usual, I don't think it's gonna matter all that much when you put everything together. I mean, they're just gonna be background pieces that decorate Simon's coffee, but it's not gonna be like the main event in the whole scene. So hopefully it's fine. But yeah, they were pretty enjoyable steps, especially this week with the new clean kettles. So that's it for this week. Next week we have cups, a lot of cups I think, utensil holder, and then some jars before we move on to plants, probably the week after. So it's been nice to have some diversity in the pieces that we make. For a long time we were stuck on paper bags, paper boxes, and now it's nice to work with different materials. So hopefully you enjoyed following along, and I think the next few weeks should be a lot of fun as well. So thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying the video, and see you in the next one. Bye!